Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to talk about the 3 phases of training in program designed for deconditioned individuals. The secret is that training deconditioned individuals is not dissimilar in program design from training professional athletes. The 3 phases of training exist whether you are a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, a judo guy, an armored contact fighter, a marathoner, or if you are recovering from injury. The phases do not change. The phases are warm up, work out, cool down. The content of these categories changes based on your level of conditioning or the sport. But for the most part, think of training deconditioned individuals as sports performance training for people who need to be better at standing up. When people are deconditioned by work or usually injury, they lose an ability to stand up well. People adapt to whatever situation that they are put in. I myself have been deconditioned due to injury several times in my life. The worst one was when I dislocated my knee, basically ripped it out of the socket, destroyed my PCL, the LCL, popliteus tendon, and the meniscus. The PCL is the posterior cruciate ligament, and the LCL is the lateral collateral ligament, lateral crucial ligament. It's one of those two. Basically, all the worst knee injuries that you could possibly have, I've had them. And that led to me having 3 surgeries and not standing up for about 7 months. And you become chair-shaped because you're not allowed to stand up. And one leg atrophies horribly because there is absolutely no load on it. So your body adapts to whatever it's doing. If there is no load on one part of your body, that part of your body will severely decondition. All the muscle mass will disappear. And when people are deconditioned, the most important thing that they do is regain an ability to stand up and share the load equally between both legs. When I got back to standing, I was holding all of my weight 100% in one leg, and the program that I designed forced me to put more weight while standing in the now bad leg. That's pretty key. Think of a deconditioned individual program as a sports performance program with the goal of standing up well, as opposed to a baseball program where the goal is to maybe throw better or faster or to hit harder, or a football program where the goal is to change directions faster. Deconditioned individuals need to learn to stand up better so that they can relearn to do all of those other things. The warm-up is hyper important. The warm-up is focused on the spine. We don't really care much about the wrists so much. We care about the most important thing, the center of the body. When people are deconditioned, they spend a lot of time sitting down. Their spine loses its vertical line, the vertical line of the body. So the warm-up focuses on the spine, and it focuses on it in a specific way, neck down. If you are in a hospital bed and are incapable of standing up, you can still do neck mobility. If your neck doesn't work right, it's very hard for any other part of your spine to work right. So you attack the easiest thing first, the neck. Then you move down to the shoulders. If you are still seated as a deconditioned person, you can do neck and shoulders and start to reopen your upper thoracic spine and your shoulders to help the top part of your spine be vertical. After that, we go down to the hips, and even if you are still seated, not able to stand up well, you can start to work on your hip mobility. When people are deconditioned, their hips are back, their chest is up, their lower back hurts. So people need to learn to mobilize their hips by doing inside and outside rotation so that their hips can come back underneath their spine. It's all about stacking your joints on top of each other the way that they were when you were conditioned or when you were a little kid. Little kids have great posture on accident if you leave them outside and make them run around. That's what we're trying to get back to. We're trying to get back to that level of lineup. It doesn't have to be perfect, say ballet. It just has to be good structural alignment, putting all your bones back in the right spot. Then the workout. The workout is firing or contracting the muscles. The exercises that we pick for this are very specific. We have a bunch of criteria that we consider for that. It has to be economical. It has to be something you can do in the privacy of your own home, so ease of use. And it has to be movement patterns that scale towards more athletic training in the future. So you should always have, whether you're a professional football player or an MMA guy or a sword fighter, there's some version of a deadlift in your training, some version of a squat in your training, some version of a press in your training. And you should also have throwing patterns in your training. Throwing patterns are something that degrades a lot in almost everybody because people in the modern world tend not to do throwing sports after, say, high school for the most part. Martial artists continue to throw punches. They continue to swing weapons. People who are construction workers tend to do throwing patterns by swinging hammers, but they tend to only do it with one side of their body, which is a problem for longevity. Equal throwing patterns on both sides of your body really, really helps. Throwing patterns ensure that people are improving their shoulder. It doesn't matter what age you are or what sport you play. Making throwing patterns equal on both sides of the body lines up with our spine theory. Neck, shoulder, hip. All of this means fire or contract the muscles. That means cross-body stabilization, causing the muscles inside of your core to fire, to hold you upright, making it equal on both sides of your body. And throwing patterns tend to help people restore their standing posture. That absolutely has to be in there. The final part is cool down or re-lengthening the muscle tissue that you have contracted in the workout. The harder you work out, the more sets you do, the more important re-lengthening your muscle tissue is. Absolutely essential. If you warm up and you work out and you skip this part, you tend to get worse at standing up, not better. Because you tend to work out, you get really tired, and you go and you sit down, and then your muscles readapt to the seated position. The cool down has to be there. It does not have to be crazy. It's usually focused on your spine, specifically your lower spine, because when you are deconditioned, when you are forced to sit down for long periods of time, by work or by injury, the first thing to go is the mobility of the lower back. This goes into a different type of theory. Your shoulder is mobile, so you train it to be stable. Your hips are stable, so you train it to be mobile. When people sit down for long periods of time, their hips become too stable. They adapt to the sitting position, and that causes the lower back to become too mobile. So you have to train mobility for the hips, which allows the spine to go back to being stable, but you have to re-lengthen all of your tissues at the end of your workout so that everything can go back to its stability, mobility complex. It's a complicated idea, but your program design should take care of it for you. If it does these three things, it focuses on neck, shoulder, hip, cross-body stabilization, standing all the way up, and then re-lengthening tissue. Training deconditioned people is not dissimilar from training professional athletes. All the same things are there. If you are a Major League Baseball player or an NFL player or a professional ballerina, these three phases are always there. The difference is the goal of the program. The goal of a deconditioned person's program is to get them good at standing back up. It needs to be economical. It needs to be able to be done in the privacy of your own home so that you are more likely to do it, and it has to have throwing patterns in it. The point of a deconditioned program is to get you to another type of program. The way I think of it, I get people to more complex programs where they start to change hands a lot. That program is called Intro to Kettlebell. And then the goal of that program is to get people back to endurance hip snap. That's the Kettlebell Swing program. And then to a clean and press program. A deconditioned program does not stand alone. The goal is to get good at standing up so you can get good at other things again.